Welcome. Thank you. I'm Shoto. I'm the Sukansu and the Shisui here at SokukoJi Buddhist Monastery, which means I help keep things going, trying to help with the programming and the property upkeep here. I just want to invite anyone who finds value in these teachings to please participate either by joining us for the Dharma talks from either Sokuzan or his monks, his students. Join us for any of the book studies throughout the week, even just one time throughout the week would be great to see you in our Zendo or to join us online. We could really use your help with your practice, joining us, and also financially to help us keep the programming going here. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. If you're having a good morning, if in fact it is morning where you're at. This morning's Dharma talk I was hoping I could remember what it was, but I guess that's going to be pretty hopeless. Wait a minute. That is the title. Dharma talk. Hopelessness. There we go. How easy was that? Hope and hopelessness. Hope. We hope for something, but it's just hopeless. Not going to happen. We're not going to get it. Either we don't deserve it or someone's to blame why we're not getting it. On and on and on. Just constant running around in circles looking for a cause. And the teaching that shows up in the Buddha's Dharma is briefly put, simply put, beyond hope and fear, beyond plus and minus, beyond that. Hopeless. Doesn't mean without hope. Yeah, guess it does. Sorry. I was hoping to say something more hopeful to you, but so what is the misunderstanding there? It's not that we don't have just a very slight push ahead with the idea of expectation of, we hope that our paycheck is in the mail, or we hope that our stomach ache will back off. Of course, those kinds of things are very situational, very dependently arisen, as is everything. It's when we lock down on something, we have a demand for something. So the two parts, the passion, aggression, and ignorance, are the three parts of pushing, aggression, pulling, passion, and shutting off or distracting aggression. So passion is the area where hope and fear show up. Fear that things are getting worse and hope that things will get better. It's quite often in our cultural situation, we are encouraged to be hopeful. Well, you need to have hope. There's one particular news reporter that's one of their favorite questions is to ask someone, what gives you hope? And I've heard that person responded to by a couple of people. I think Dick Gregory, the comedian, once said, hope? I don't need any hope. So I wouldn't quite be that harsh about it. So what is hope? Hope is something that we put in place of the reality, to use that fancy, wonderful uppercase R, when reality of that which is showing up in front of us, let's call it reality, when that which is showing up in front of us is covered up by hope for something else, hope that it'll be different. And what's being shows up here in the teachings as what was the book we were studying where Trungpa Rinpoche goes into hopelessness quite a bit with Padmasambhava.
Crazy Wisdom.
Crazy Wisdom book. Very great book. We study that here once a week and have been doing it for, I think, years now. We keep going through the same books over and over again. The book Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism, a series of talks given by Trungpa Rinpoche at Karma Choling and other places in the early 1970s. We've been studying that for over half a century. I've been studying that at least weekly for over half a century. That book is so completely powerful. I highly recommend that you read it, and I highly recommend that you study it with others. Sangha. You can have the Buddha, you can have a teacher. You need one. You should have one of sorts, or maybe a not of sorts. But you need a teaching, and then you need a Sangha. So it's a good idea if you can to bring all three of those together. That's not always possible, but you can at least take the Dharma or a book or a scripture or whatever and study that with others, other people who are also interested. So you can realize, so you can understand, so you can see that everyone understands this differently. Some people's particular dynamic or their way of being confused, of shrinking right up into a knotted fist right here, they're not about to let you in there or let anybody. They're not about to go in there themselves. It feels too safe, not going to go in. So the teachings and the teacher and the Sangha, the community, can help you look at that knot. It might take a while before it starts to come apart. You cannot take it apart. This is not therapy. Not that I'm against therapy. I highly approve of it. I think it's a good idea. Most of us should be in it. I'm in therapy all the time. Look who I'm surrounded by. So hopelessness, the idea there, my understanding, it's a little bit difficult to take something so polarized as hope and hopelessness, or hope and fear, to take something in there and disassemble, deconstruct that in such a way that it brings out a further, deeper understanding, either perceptually, which isn't necessarily with concepts or thought patterns or logic or reason. You may have to go into that tunnel, into that darkness without any support, without a flashlight. You can do that. You can do that. Darkness works because there are not two things. If there were two things, then the darkness would not be a good idea. But since there are not two things, and I'm just encouraging you to do that, I'm encouraging you to go there anyway, see what happens, and see if anything happens. The lack of something happening, the lack of something happening is not necessarily failure. So the teaching, to come back to the title, the so-called title of the talk, is hopelessness. So if you actually understand that title, you'll neither have hope nor will you be hopeless. That's actual hope. Hopelessness is without hope, but it's also without hopelessness. The word hopelessness is used by Trungpa Rinpoche, as I understand it. I wasn't able to chat with him about it, but to encourage you to look more deeply into the very nature of that part of passion that grasps, that hangs on, that what gives you hope. When we have to have hope. Well, I only have hope about this. Well, if I didn't have hope, I don't know what I would do. Well, if on the spiritual path, you might be better. When I say better, and when I say you might, and when I say you can ask questions about any one of those words, because I'm reflecting very carefully on every one of them. I very seldom say anything without being aware of it. That being said, I don't think about anything. If I did, we'd all be confused. You wouldn't be listening to me. You'd be listening to somebody else. I don't make sense. I'm not here to make sense. That pisses people off sometimes. Well, they have to do what they have to do. People do what they have to do. We just try to be as generous and as sincere and as honest as we can. It's very difficult if you're confronted with hopelessness, if you're confronted with paranoia or fear. What if this happens? What if that happens? What will people think if I do this or do that? If you're operating out of that kind of dynamic, it's just going to go in circles. And I'm not saying it might not feel protected or hopeful, that kind of protection. It could, but it's coming back around because it's circular. It will come back around and it will bite you in any exposed area. This is why I recommend over and over again is spend a lot of time with yourself, by yourself. or with a community. You can do it that way also, but by yourself, sit still, sit symmetrical, and observe the mind stream coming and going. Someone asked me recently if it was necessary to do, since they know I have done creation completion practice or deity yoga and so on, if it's necessary. No, I don't think so. But you don't have to go with my conclusion. It's not even a conclusion. I just don't think so. I could be wrong. When I say wrong, the way in which I would be wrong is if I said no one has to, everybody can just do shikantaza and that's all they'll need. No, I said that's probably all you're going to need, but you might need some other kind of practice, up to and including something like Tai Chi or yoga or some kind of strong body orientation. I don't know. It's possible. I wouldn't lock anything out. Don't grasp onto any form. Observe every form that comes in front of you or everyone you practice, but don't necessarily go to, oh, this has got to be the right form. No, hopeless. It's hopeless. You cannot find a reference point. You find reference points, and what do we want to do? We want to turn them into something, into a pitching post or into a, as a person that was asking me this question, turn it into a weapon, which is very accurate. If you understand what's being said by hopelessness, then you wouldn't necessarily characterize your consciousness as being hopeless. You wouldn't characterize it as anything. You wouldn't have a name for what this is, other than if you were put in a situation where you needed to say something about it, you probably would just say it's just consciousness. Sometimes the sun comes out, sometimes the sun goes away. Consciousness, consciousness. It's countless names for the same thing. The simple polarities are sun face Buddha, moon face Buddha. That's why this teaching is here. That's why that ancient teaching shows up, sun face Buddha, moon face Buddha, night and day, night and day. The polarity that shows up differently, but are not different actually fundamentally. I'll respond to some questions if there are some, or I can continue to talk.
Kabowing, yesterday when we were talking about hopelessness in that Crazy Wisdom book study, I wanted to find a different word for hopelessness. Is there some other way to express that is helpful in our practice?
Peanut butter. Took you 1/8 of a second to smile. What was happening just before you smiled? What was happening just before you smiled?
Feel my muscles in my mouth.
Because of the peanut butter?
Yes, because I love peanut butter.
You guys got a thing going on there?
I do. All my life.
So I agree. I used to go in and watch television in 1952 with a big tablespoon of peanut butter, like sit in front of a television, the black and white television that was about this big. Yes, I'm that old. So do you see what I'm saying by that, though?
Kabowing, is it that it doesn't matter as you say sometimes? There is no.
It matters what you say until you think it doesn't matter what you say. Then you've taken a position on it. It's very difficult if there's an ego involved. If there's a me feeling, you're there, I'm here, you're getting ahead, I'm falling behind, or I'm getting ahead, you're falling. If you take any position on anything, that's why it just takes a whole lifetime to do this, and why the path leading to this can be extremely painful, because we have all the lifetimes we've ever lived in all kinds of different forms. You're not a separate person. All those things are all starting to come to the fore. They get triggered by various things that were covered up in the past, either 3 months ago or 400 years ago. Not two different things. They're differentiated, but they're fundamentally not different. So they all have access to this body-mind complex showing up as milk. Receive everything. Go ahead.
Milk bowing. Yesterday, what showed up for me instead of peanut butter was lessness or something. I don't know. There was something about that was just showing up that seemed very like I wanted to change out the word hope in that word for something else. And so that's where my question today was coming.
I would say don't have any word at all. Just if you need a word, just consciousness. No position, no hope or something. Hope is a cover up with some kind of idea, unless it's just a simple wanting your stomach ache to back off or your headache. Hope that that'll go away within a short time. A very simple thing that doesn't create any issues. It's very much that circularity is simply involved with this particular presence of this part of the illusion that is showing up in space and time as a living form. You have a tummy ache, it'd be nice if it backs off. But when that hope goes on to longer, more extended philosophical excursions into making demands on that things come about or happen, or that you get some kind of satisfaction out of something. That's why we have all the terrible things happening in politics in the country and more.
Milk bowing in that circularity that shows up. Even if I happen to see hopelessness, there seems like I can see the circularity coming right in and, wanting to put words to it.
What's your question?
Milk bowing. Is there a way that that's helpful in our practice?
It's totally helpful because the way you're describing it, you're just watching that happen. It's just that what's the hidden agenda, to use that word, there is that you want that to turn into something, to a deeper understanding or a better shape, the whole thing, or a better name or something. You want something. Very subtle. You want something. It's not about not wanting something. It's about being aware that you want something. If you're just aware that you want something, nothing is fulfilled. Don't fulfill. Don't fulfill anything. And that way there's a possibility, no guarantee because it's extremely complicated in that area. There's a possibility that the whole thing will break apart and that you will see there never was anyone that wanted anything. And then there never was anything that you desired because everywhere you look, this is it. You're not separate from anything you want. It's in front of you. More?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Wunderbar. Can hopelessness exist with a desire for attainment
Yes.
at the same time?
Yes. Because the understanding, as you practice, the understanding of attainment is you get a deep understanding of what attainment is. Attainment isn't going from here to there. Attainment is seeing that what is completely true right now. That's attainment. The attainment is you're no longer covering anything up. You're no longer interpreting anything, changing anything, translating this into that, so it's more palatable. You just receive it as it is, no matter how raw and rugged or distasteful it is. We get caught on right and wrong so easily. Just that something doesn't taste well, must be wrong. More about that if you have it.
Wunderbar. Is hopelessness an experience? The way you're talking about it.
The path quality of realizing that hoping for something and having a realization that you just need to be here and observe. You just need to practice. You just need to return to the Buddha's Dharma. You just need to, with the help of the three jewels, of the teacher, the teaching in the community, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, just return to this so-called present moment until you see that there never was anything but this. Everything else is some kind of a creation. It was just this, just consciousness. So to come back to the question, the path quality could show up as quite a bit of grasping in that area, or the intention to see the truth could be filled with a desire to see it a particular way, to have a particular credential, because now you've realized hopelessness, because now you really feel hopeless. But that's still a path quality. The ground is suffering, the path is awareness, and the fruition is the truth. And there are no words for that fruition. If someone puts words on it, maybe they need to do that to be helpful to some people, but I don't think it's necessary. I think the ground and the path are what is important to emphasize. If you start emphasizing the fruition, then it just ends up, you're going right to the fruition, the intention, and then you turn away from it by your description of it. You end up setting off on a cafe right near the Eiffel Tower, reading a description of what you're looking for. God realm. Go ahead.
Onto so then just seeing this as illusion, continue to practice, continue to
Yes.
see or look at the ego, the
Yes.
hopelessness, the attainment, desire
Yeah.
for attainment.
Yes. I can give you a very simple story for those of you who want to hear something this way. You have to agree. Okay. But you don't, what are you agreeing to? This is going to be terrible because I don't know what I'm going to say. There's two things that can happen. Let's break it down let's use some heavy duality here. Right now we're alive. Pretty soon you'll be dead. When I say pretty soon, 30 years, 30 minutes. Depends. But whatever your state of mind is right now, just the intention to see it. When you die, if that's all there is the intention to see the truth, I don't care how awake you are. I don't care how confused you are. This is called bodhicitta. If you have the intention to see the truth, then that's the important thing. So die with that intention. If you do that, you'll begin to die every day. It won't be the physical death, of course, but dying to any kind of an outcome, hopeless. This is just a way of teaching it. It's just a way of talking about it. It's meant to be helpful to people. It's meant to be encouraging to all of you to look at the negativity in your mind stream rather than cover it up with some kind of hope or some kind of power positive thinking or what may have you there. Some people need that and they should be allowed to do that. I would support them in doing that. Somebody came to me and said that they were really like this teacher because he or she or they were much more positive than I was, and I'm too negative. Then I would say study under them. Right and wrong or extra. Yes. Jen.
Jen Bowing. I'm noticing that the word hopelessness has a like a negative connotation in my mind. But I'm wondering if, in fact, with hopelessness, in true hopelessness, is there like a vitality, like a truer vitality, or
Yes.
aliveness?
Yes. I would say that's when the negative part of hopelessness is because you're kind of taking away from the positive thing of hope. You have to have hope, and don't we all need hope? Well, thank the Lord, finally have some hope or whatever. I'm not against that. Some people need to live their whole life doing that, and they should do it. We would support them. I support them. But if you're listening to me and you've been training your mind to see clearly what the truth is yourself, then yes, that would be part of it. You would begin to see that hopelessness is not negative. It's just you're without any future orientation because you realize that's an illusion. There's no way you can know what's going to happen next. And to sit around and hope for it, what a waste of time. You might as well be cracking walnuts with your teeth. Is that a pretty good example? That's before you take off that green coating. So yes, I would say the getting beyond that into some kind of basic understanding, and the word you use is vitality, I think. And it's like some kind of you get some energy from that because you realize that this is that all you need, you have everything you need right now. You don't need to hope for something else. You don't need the elseness. It's empty. The conceptual instruction there and the teachings down through the centuries, way before we were born, is empty of other. Empty of other. There is no other. It's non-dual, Advaita. Very simple conceptual idea that can take the rest of your life to actually understand because we keep trying to take it apart, put it together. Don't do anything with it, but be aware of it. Be aware of the hope so you can see that it's hopeless. Be aware of the hopeless so you can see it. It's nothing but just resonant. It is nothing but resonance with a complete power of everything. You can call it vitality. Just that there's energy in that. I don't need a leg up. I'm fine. I can do this myself. I will do this. I will train my mind and I will see the truth myself completely alone. You may have Sangha, which is a different kind of support than the standard kind of community of friends who are supporting your neurosis so they can be friends with you. Because if they criticize your neurosis, that's no longer your friends. Different kind of community of Sangha. Not particularly protective sometimes. More, Jen?
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Is that your kitty right there?
One of them, yeah.
Which way is she looking?
That now this way.
Oh, actually, no.
That way. No, she's out here.
Now she's gone.
She doesn't like when we talk. It's too. But
She didn't care for Dharma talks too much.
she likes to sit here, but she doesn't like when it gets too loud,
Yeah.
I guess. But I this question
Yes, go ahead.
of hopelessness just reminded me of that Charlotte Joko Beck story about the pilot versus the hang glider.
Yes, well, tell the story, please.
As I recall, and I'll do a bad job of it, but a pilot and a hang glider are both trying to navigate a major storm, like a cyclone. And the pilot is spending his whole time messing with the dials, just freaking out and looking at the instrumentation on the plane and missing what the hang glider is experiencing, which is a complete submission to the majesty of the moment. And he knows death is certain, and he's enjoying the ride, I guess you could say, and astonished at the beauty. And the pilot misses all of that, and he may well die also, but he's too busy futzing with the controls.
Which one of her books is that in?
I think it was Nothing Special.
I either missed it or I just don't remember it. It's quite a nice story.
It might be the other one.
It is kind of you got all the instruments which would symbolize all the concepts, ideas, structures we have about what's true, what's not true, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Whereas the hang glider is just in the wind. He, she, or they are just in the mind stream, and it could be just as uncomfortable, even more threatening, because we're like, I have nothing. I don't have anything other than just the wind, and I could die any moment. So yes, that might be a time when you could really be appreciative of the incredible power of this living experience that we're all as human beings are having. So thank you so much for that. Anything else, Jen?
I was just going to add the doomed living experience that we're all having.
Yes, doomed. Yeah, you notice I perked right up when you did that. Yeah, because it's true. It is true. This can come to an end. Either the whole world can come to an end. Nothing actually happens. I'm not saying we shouldn't try to stop horrible, evil people from doing whatever they're trying to do with their time. If you can find a way to do that, have at it. I don't know how you do it. The avalanche of all the terrible things that are happening is so big. It started for hundreds of years ago, and it just keeps coming down at us. So, yeah, kind of a doomed feeling. But if you know what this is, you know that you cannot be destroyed. You cannot destroy what this is. You can destroy what this looks like. You can destroy the illusion. It'll take all kinds of shapes. You know, some of the people who are protesting some of the things they're wearing clown suits and rabbit suit and what frogs, yeah, because there's a kind of an intuition there that they're coming with all these weapons to scare everybody, and instead of bringing out people with their AK-47s to come in so they can murder everybody. Instead, they're coming out with frog suits. So quite a creative, quite creative. I mean, it's just pretty amazing that there's that kind of intelligence going on. Whether it will so-called work, well, all we can do is have hope. Sorry about that. Okay, who's next? Yes.
Shadow bowing. That reminds me of the teaching around like it's something about like this is an emergency or practice like this is an emergency.
Practice like your hair's on fire.
Yes, and it seems like in the glider situation, it's easier to maybe submit to that because you really just know that it's hopeless. How do we miss that when the storm's not happening? How are we missing that emergency quality?
Hmm. Are we? Are you missing it?
I guess I'm comparing an emergency, like having contrast between that and when something's not an
I think
emergency.
I think maybe adding the contrast is what's happening. That keeps you differentiation, keeps you in the area of the mind that differentiates between this and that. So it gives you a structure so the ego feels protected. But if you're not differentiating, you're not judging, evaluating, condemning, consuming some kind of conclusions about things in order to protect your mind from that part of the mind that is we refer to as the ego, then everything's just an open dimension. Nothing, since you don't have any particular location anywhere in time or space. And if your identity is no longer located just here, then you can't be threatened. This doesn't mean that if you don't have a headache that you have no location in time or space, so the headache's not bothering you. No, the headache could be more intense. You follow a little bit what I'm saying? Well, I don't know why you do because I don't know what I even said. What did I say?
Forget.
You didn't forget. You never knew. Did you know? You see what I'm saying by no location in time or space, then you can't be if you see there's no location in time, tick, 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 or space, this and that, this and that, and this and that, there's no location. Consciousness is just here. It just happens to be manifesting behind these organs to give the illusion of being someone somewhere. It's temporary. But who you actually are is not located anywhere. But if you realize that, then pain may be there, difficulty may be there, challenge may be there, but your ultimate understanding is beyond all of that. It's not attached to any of that. It's like the person in the hang glider in the wind is just realizing they're just this. I mean, that's my description of what they might be experiencing. I don't know what Joko was saying about in that book. But it's like just a so-called present moment, which is a misunderstanding of the present moment to use that concept. But it's like that. It's just this. What were you thinking about when I was saying that?
Shadow bowing. I was thinking about how in that example, there's immediately a polarity between the pilot with the dials and the hang glider with no controls, which it makes it look like the hang glider is doing something more authentic versus the pilot who's freaking out. Is the pilot freaking out missing anything?
What is it you want to know? I heard the question, but what do you want to know?
I'm seeing how that's kind of lending itself for that contrast, which I heard you were.
We're always going to look like we're missing something. If you think you're missing something, very nature of duality is to think that you're over here and you didn't see something, you're missing something. There's no way you can miss anything. We can't miss. You can't really miss. If you think you're missing something, this is fuel for the ego. If you think there's something else that you need to get, some place that you need to be, this is what the first and second noble truth are addressing by the Buddha. Suffering and desire for something else. More?
Thank you.
Onto bowing. Are we fundamentally not missing anything and relatively not missing anything? Bowing?
Yes, because those are not two different things. They just look intensely different. And until you realize your true nature, which is buying into using the word until I realize I'm participating in the illusion of time. I have to say something, so I'm saying it, but nothing actually occurs. So ultimately, no, there's no way you can miss anything. Nothing actually happens. This is a complete illusion. This whole lifetime you just live, all your time when you're a little girl climbing up in the trees and listening to birds and so on. Unreal. Yes.
Wonderful. So are we not missing anything because it's all unreal, but yet we can still miss something that's in the illusion?
What you're missing, well, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm leaving what you're asking me too quickly. Maybe I need to ask you to clarify your question more, and then I'll go to the question on Zoom. Go ahead.
Wonderful. It seems like in the illusion, I can be missing a movement or a sound because I'm focused on something. But you said you can't fundamentally miss anything, or you said we can't miss anything.
Well, in the illusion, it's going to seem like you miss because that's what the illusion is. I'm over here, I'm watching that, and I totally missed that a rabbit ran by over there, and 3 other people saw it, but I didn't see it because I was looking over here at a squirrel. So I missed that. So the relative structure is really convincing, and it just further confirms the consciousness that is showing up in this human form or that human form or any of them. So convincing. Most of the world runs on that. Billions of people live that way. And you could sit down and talk to them for a week and try to teach them Buddhism or teach them something else, and they're probably not going to listen to it. It's just they're too convinced that that is real. But there's a few people that are this whole idea of being alive and getting up every morning and having breakfast and having a job and having a relationship. Something about it just doesn't work. Something about it is suspect. So then we turn and we try to see, isn't there a deeper meaning? You were doing that when you were a young person, as was I. Many of us were looking for some kind of ultimate understanding. Some of us spent time when we were really young because of the environment we were in, reading the Bible or going to church and maybe feeling pretty dismayed by that whole thing. And this is not what you're looking for. And so it takes a long time. More?
Wonderful. So then when you say we can't miss anything, it's because this is unreal? Or is it because
It's not two. A simple way of saying, if you want a strong relative statement, not two different things. It's not this and not that. It's not a thought. It's not any kind of two-ness that shows up for polarity or duality. It's not that. It has to be a negative understanding of that in order to firmly and truly and directly address and perceive what is in front of you, which is just that. It's why it's sometimes called mirror-like, because you tend to see yourself in everything. You tend to get a glimpse of your identity, not you, the person, or you, the monk, or but some kind of fundamental understanding of identity starts to show up everywhere. And it won't be a particularly highfalutin whoop-de-doo experience. It'll just be very subtle understanding, a deep understanding without any credential, no proof. But you won't need proof. You begin to understand or see this, you will not need proof. It just seems necessary, maybe not in every case, but certainly in the case of this person who's speaking, necessary to continue to return to awareness practice over and over and over and over again for decades and decades. More? Is there another question on Zoom? Jen, go ahead.
Jen bowing. So you often exhort us, don't miss your life. And so I had a little like brain snap when you said you can't miss anything. And I think Ondo was going after maybe chasing the same distinction, or I won't speak for Ondo, but I'm wondering, when you say don't miss your life and you say you can't miss anything, what does that look like? What
I'm basically saying when I say you can't miss anything, I'm saying everything that is showing up is not separate from anything else that is apparently in the illusion is showing up as being missed. Those are not two different things. They just look like it in the illusion as long as long as you're grasping. And so the fundamental understanding is you can't miss anything. You're not missing anything. But when I say don't miss your life, I'm saying don't, if you're listening to me for 20 minutes or whatever, don't spend the rest of your life buying into your beliefs, your opinions, your judgments, your evaluations, your conclusions about anything. If you're just using your incredibly gifted intelligence or intellect to figure everything out and read Nietzsche or Kierkegaard or Albert Camus or for that matter Padmasambhava or Trungpa Rinpoche or me or anybody else, anybody who's talking about the nature of this, find it yourself. Go here. Don't miss your life. Actually sit down and whatever's arising, that's exactly what you need to see. And that's true for you, Jen. That's true for me. It's true for Shoto. It's true for Tokugawa. It's true for everyone in this room, everyone on the screen. You can find it here. You may need to listen to me to have me say, oh, if you keep coming here and listening to me for whatever time I'm still around, I'm just going to say, find out who you are. Find out who you are. You don't have to join Sokuzan, but find out who you are. You may need more help. You may need to be a monk. You may need to come and live in a monastery for the rest of your life. I don't know. That's up to you. There are people living here who want to be here and need to be here and are dedicated. There are other people who have gone other directions. They're doing what they think they should do. Are they missing their life? I have no idea, but they know. They might not know this week, but they will at some point, 3 lifetimes from now. Did I get close to it?
That was perfect.
Good. I like the thumbs up. Okay, now who have I been missing? I've been missing James. Go ahead, James. Give me a good question. Make it short, though. I don't want to be some long labyrinth of your dithyrambic mentation.
All right, James Bowling. Is hope increasing the illness of clinging and grasping? As in, the more hope you get, the worse your illness of clinging becomes?
I think there's something to that. What you're saying, I wouldn't clamp down on it as some kind of a wonderful discovery about it, but I would say there's something. If you're counting on hope all the time, then you tend to increase the circularity. It's like you're more and more believing in the merry-go-round you're on and the hobby horse that you're riding on that merry-go-round. It seems more and more convincing it's truthful. Here I am coming around again. I'm eventually going to get somewhere. As you go round and around and around into the darkness, into the light, into the darkness, into the light, merry-go-round. So yes, the hope would be perpetuating that, I would say.
Should someone make the focus their meditation, clinging, grasping, being aware of those two if they have false hope?
If you're doing sitting meditation, as I teach it, not that I've got some kind of magical formula, it's just to sit down, hold still, watch the mind. It's simple. I mean, I say sit symmetrical. I say have your eyes open. But a few things are very particular about it. Then hold still and watch what continues to move. If you do that, you cannot help but have things show up that are what? Are positive, negative, neutral, hope and fear, right and wrong, should be and shouldn't be. All that stuff, all that malarkey that's showing up in the mind, that's all over society, all over our culture, all over how our parents treated us, all over how our society and our friends and everybody's talking about right and wrong, should be and shouldn't be, hope and fear, hope and fear. Yes, sit down, hold still, watch the movement so that you see it. You might, if you see it, you won't be able to tell it. I mean, you might be able to do what I'm doing, sit up here and talk to a couple dozen people once a week about this, but you have to do it yourself. You have to do it yourself. There's nothing to join. I don't require anything of you at all.
Is the second noble truth connected to that?
Yes, it is.
Thanks.
So I can't quite see your name, but I have a lot of vowels and consonants. It starts with a V, and the second name is A. Would you like to ask a question?
Slavis Bank.
Yes.
So, hope is something we try to change in reality. We try to add or remove something we hope is changing reality. And hopeless is quite opposite. It's deep exception. we don't have hope, we don't have to change anything. Right?
I don't necessarily agree or disagree.
But one cannot exist without another one.
I wouldn't get too sure of yourself on that. On the other hand, maybe you should tighten right up on it. Do you have a question? I mean, rather
Yes.
than make a statement and ask for my agreement or disagreement, ask me a straight question and then I'll work with that.
Yes, it was question, it's not was statement.
Oh,
I
maybe I
said,
misunderstood then. I'm sorry. Please repeat it again.
I said hope it's we try to change something, and hopeless is um, quite opposite. It's totally exception. And question is, the both exist same time or how it's
Okay, I'll agree. I will agree with you. Yes, that's true. They both exist at the same time.
okay? Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Shadow bowing. I'm thinking of in a couple of our studies, we're looking at how Buddhism isn't trying to say how things actually are. It's just trying to help people see that. So I'm wondering, like with hopelessness, how is that something we might get stuck on or not, or make it like another viewpoint? Bowing.
You're not going to be able to help but end up going this way. So it's always about awareness. It's not about what you do. Again, it's not about what happens in the awareness because anything is going to happen. It's dependent. There is in pratitya samutpada. It's dependent. There's no singularity that is in charge of anything. There's no authority anywhere. It just looks like it. And we want some of it. But it's so what is important is to be aware of the movement. If you're aware, if your identity is the awareness, you will have no position on anything. But you will, but no position can show up without you being aware of it. You also will not buy into the position or reinforce that the position as being right or wrong or anything at all because you see it. It is dependently arisen. Well,
Shadow bowing. I guess I'm wondering if you could, um, like depending on who you were in front of or where you were at, could you possibly point out what you're looking at using the idea of hope?
give me an example.
Shadow bowing. The first thing that came up was like you being in front of kids or something like that, where I don't know, like
Well, we can keep going.
where you might see where someone needs to hear it that way. I'm wondering, it's the same question, I guess, just how we might get hung up on hopelessness as another.
If you don't get hung up on hopelessness or on hope or hopelessness or get hung up on anything, then you will meet everything where it's at, and you might have concepts and ideas coming out of the ether or coming out of the Alaya Vijnana or whatever you want to say, whatever concepts you want to use that apply to that situation. So yes, if I'm understanding, yes, you might offer something that could show up as hope to that person because it would be dependently risen. So you would see what fundamentally that would be the most helpful thing for that person to hear about or hear from you in that situation. In other words, what's the standard teaching there? Standard teaching. I just gave it to you. Don't set up standards. Don't set up standards. Then you can use something that may look like a standard just for 30 seconds. Because that's the only thing that's going to actually work to fundamentally help that person in that particular individual situation as you see it arising, and then it all falls away. You don't necessarily start to write books about how you can help children by giving them hope. Yes,
Shadow bowing.
yes.
I'm looking at, I guess I'm just creating this a difficult situation in the future, like when you pass and we are using
I'm going to pass.
allegedly.
Allegedly, who alleged that?
I thought you did,
Oh, yeah, I probably did. Go ahead. I forgot.
where we'll be using your teachings, but you personally can't clarify them, and it just looks like we're going to end up making your teachings into standards. Like,
You think that's going to happen?
it's possible, it seems like.
Well, then burn them. Can you burn them? You'd have to burn, what would you have to burn? The cloud? Can you burn the cloud? But you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't be concerned about that. Unlikely to happen. I mean, you're bound to have, you're going to have some people that are going to lock down on this or lock down on that. It's not important what happens. It's important that you're aware of it. And that applies to what you're just asking about there. Just be aware. Outcomes are way overrated. Outcomes are based on control and on making money and on getting ahead and being famous and being right and all this other crap. And what that does is reinforces the primary illusion is that there is a separate being anyway. There are no separate beings. There's no personhood, no personhood here that needs to even live for another moment. Nothing is needed. You don't want anything else. Hopeless, but it's not a feeling like, oh, I'm so hopeless. No, it's more like Jen was referring to as a kind of vitality. That whatever there is in terms of the illusion of time, you're here and you're going to function as best you can. And you see me every day. You see what I deal with every day. What am I doing? I'm doing this because I can. And I'll do it until I can't. But there's no outcome. There's just this. It's like this is the only Dharma talk I've ever given. And it's the only one you ever heard. More?
No, thank you.
Is there a further question out there in yes, Naveed. Naveed, go ahead.
Is there any relationship between nothing happens and hopelessness, Bowie?
Yeah, same thing. Hopelessness is a way of describing that part of how it might appear to someone who has not realized nothing happens, or suchness, or not realized the fundamental emptiness of reality, not realized they're still working on it conceptually, they've not realized it yet. So that it may show up that way for a while, but the fundamental understanding is nothing happens. So there's no one to be disappointed, although disappointment might be a lot of footsteps, that each one is very disappointing until the final disappointment, which is not even disappointing. That's why it's disappointing. Nothing happens. It's that disappointing. You can do that. That is a possibility for anyone that's listening to me. All I'm saying is go this way and see what this is. And go, if you see what this is, you'll know what that is.
David Bowie,
Yes, sir.
when you say nothing happens, I'm trying to understand what that really means. Is it that nothing happens in the mind, or just nothing happens? I don't know.
So it obviously it happens in the illusion. If this comes down moves through the illusion of space, this is an illusion of a white stick, and it moves through space and it hits the illusion of a tabletop and makes the third illusion of a sound. Very convincing. I mean, something happened. This moved, that one. We're not saying things aren't happening. We're just saying they're unreal. It's an illusion. And if you see that that's an illusion, you stop trying to look for some kind of secret understanding in the cause and effect that shows you that's an illusion. No, the actual sound itself, the actual movement itself, the thing itself is the illusion. The thought that comes up, the intense feeling of resentment for something somebody said or did. Unreal. Has no substance as a valid phenomena. It's there and it's in the illusion and it's a part of it. It's a texture, it's a color, it's a shape. So it's part of that mosaic of the mind, but it has no fundamental reality. What does have reality? Just a way of talking about it, just consciousness, the space in which things occur. You cannot find the sky unless you see a cloud. Then you know there's a sky because the cloud needs someplace to appear. And the sky happens to be very generous.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll take one more. Jishin, go ahead.
Jishin bowing. I would like to say thank you, Jen, for that fantastic first question and the story. It completely opened my mind in a different way of looking at hopelessness. So from everything which was said today, I kind of realized that hopelessness keeps us away from the future. So my question is hopelessness that a door to just this? Bowing.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you very much. We can close now and what will we do next?
This was handed to me.
Oh, this is a book that's out. It's available on Amazon if you're interested in. And this is the fourth book that's on Amazon that I've with the help of the Sangha. This is addiction awareness meditation. This is based on working with in a rehab center for many, many years, talking to people, not teaching Buddhism, but teaching awareness practice so they could see the way that they are attached to certain things that cause them to go in circles and hurt themselves and others. So it's been very, very helpful to some people. Maybe it'll be helpful to you, or maybe you could recommend it to someone. And it has a lot of really nice cartoons inside too that I drew. See if there's one I can find. No, I guess it's a book that doesn't have any. But there's a big snake on the front. That helps. Everybody likes snakes. So, and had a lot of help with this. Shodo and Ondo and others also helped a lot with getting this book together, especially Shodo put a lot of hours in it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here we go.